Hello everyone, this is Guru Chanda Sarepo, lecturer in Marketing Management, Government Degree College, Siddipet Autonomous. We are taking OB class. Today our topic is group dynamics. We will discuss what is group dynamics. One of the realities of organizational behavior is that we must work in and with groups accomplish our aspirations. No matter no much we value and project our individuality, almost all of our goals can be achieved only in a group. Union members are just one example of work group. The behavior of individuals in a group is something more than sum total of uh, each of them acting uh, in his or own way. Alternatively, we can say that individuals behave differently when they are in groups as compared to when they are alone. Right? For example, let us say the three individuals equally knowledgeable and give the task of solving a problem. The ideas generated jointly by these three individuals be richer and more creative. Then, if the three individuals generate their own ideas without any interaction among them, because now they have used their combined wisdom to generate integrated solutions. Another instance is that an employee who would individually accept change and create with management might become belligerent and try to hinder the change if he or she is a union member and the union seeks to maintain the status quo. Right? It was proved by Hawthorne experiments that people behave as members of the group and their membership of the group helps in shape their work behavior and attitude towards the organization. Management can use the group effectively and successfully for the accomplishment of organizational objectives. According to Likert, an organization will function best when its personnel functions not as individual but as members of highly effective work groups with high performance goals. Before we continue, it is important that we define the term, namely group dynamics. Now we'll see the meaning of group. We'll define the definition. In a layman's view, a number of people together at a given place and given time can be considered as a group. However, from the organizational point of view, a group has different meaning and definition. In the broad sense, a group is any collection of individuals who have mutually dependent relationships. A formal definition of group is that it refers to a collection of two or more interacting individuals with a stable pattern of relationships between them, who share common goals and who perceive themselves as being a group. If we observe definitions given by eminent psychologists, that is, according to David H. Smith, a group is a set of two or more individuals who are jointly characterized by the network of relevant communications, shared sense of collective identity, and one or more shared dispositions with associated normative strength. This is the definition given by David H. Smith. According to Marvin Shaw, group is defined as a group is two or more persons who are interacting with one another in such a manner that each person influences and influenced by each other person. This is Marvin Shaw definition. And another definition given by E.H. Cheney prescribes that there are three conditions which any number of persons to be called a group should satisfy. The three conditions are: people must interact with each other, they must be psychologically aware of one another, they should perceive themselves to be a group. Okay, these three conditions must be prescribed by E.H. Cheney, okay, to become a group. Now, if the tests are applied, many aggregations of people do not qualify as a group. Example, a crowd standing at the bus stop and waiting for bus does not necessarily constitute a group. We can summarize all the above definitions by saying that a group is the aggregation of small number of persons who work for common goals, develop a shared attitude, and are aware that they are a part of a group and perceive themselves as such. Thus, causal aggregate of people do not qualify as a group because they ordinarily are not aware of one another, or if aware, do not interact with other individuals in a meaningful way. Kurt Kelvin, a sociologist, sociopsychologist, and change management expert, is credited with coining the term group dynamics. In the early group dynamics described the effects of these rules and behavior on the other group members and on the group as a whole. Okay, now we'll see the definitions of group. Here, the dynamic means force. From organizational point of view, it refers to the forces operating in the organization or in groups. In very simple words, group dynamics refers to the study of forces operating without a group. The social process by which people interact face to face in small groups is called group dynamics. Thus, group dynamics is concerned with the interaction of the individuals in a face to face relationship with common ideas to accomplish to give tasks. The group develops its goal clearly and furnishes suggestions to its members for the accomplishment of goals. Every group chooses its leaders. That is, who is called the informal leader? Because he is not recognized in the formal organization structure. Who may effectively coordinate a group efforts towards the accomplishment of these objectives. The term group dynamics is defined how a group should be organized and conducted. Democratic leadership, members participate and overall cooperation are stressed. Another views take group dynamics as set of techniques Here, role playing, brainstorming, groups, leaderless groups, group therapy, sensitivity, training, team building, transaction analysis, and Java window are traditionally equated with group dynamics. A third view is that closest to Levin's original concept. Group dynamics is viewed from the perspective of the maternal nature of groups, how they form, their structure and possess, and how they function and affect individual members, other groups, and the organization. This review is more prevalent, and in this chapter is devoted to the third view of the group dynamics. Now we will see the features of group dynamics. The important features of group dynamics are given here. We will discuss in detail. First one is perception. When group dynamics is defined by perception, it implies that every member of the group is aware of his respective relationship with other members of the group. Each member perceives the group differently based on their own learning and background. If the member are properly trained, members are properly trained and motivated, group strength can be developed. Group members jointly form a group against the forces which threaten their individual freedom. Depend upon the circumstances under which the group is formed. The members perceive the group as problem solving or as development. Another feature that is motivation. Motivation generally, people generally join groups because they believe that unity is strength and that the group will help them in solving their problems. The group is developed taking into consideration the individual interests, issues like promotions, pay, working conditions, etc. are tackled with the jointly motivates are talked with the jointly with the help of groups. The perception of the unity and interactive force is present in a group which motivates the employees for better performance. The different needs of the society are met by forming different groups. Businessmen join a club or association to improve their business opportunity and to solve the problems proposed by the administrator or others. Social groups are formed for solving individual groups. And next feature is group goals. Group goals is a very essential component of forming the group. Goals are the targets towards which all the group inputs, activities, processes and outputs are directed. A goal is used for motivating the employees. If all the members of the group accept their respective responsibilities, group activities are involved, and all the members perform successfully. If members put group goals above their individual goals, they become responsible, conscious, and make efforts to perform their duties. Another feature is that group organization. A group is just like an organization which is composed of different members to achieve its goals. A group has all the following structure elements of the organization. What are those? We will see now. Set standards of relationship among members, set of norms for relating the functions of the group, and a structure with power, relations and well-defined jobs, and define status of individual members, role relationship, set of values, and own regulating behavior. Well-defined diagnosing, adopting, and communicating processes. Hierarchical structure, where some of the group members have more power and higher position than others. Another is group force for the development of whole organization. Right. Now we'll see interdependency. Other features. Interdependency of the members is the main feature of the group. If people have common goal but they are not interdependent, they are not part of a group. Individuals constitute a group because they are not interdependent. Group members are those people who interact with each other. They form a group. If they develop it as a permanent system, it becomes an organization. Group dynamism is experienced if interdependency is committed into group strengths. And another feature is interaction. Interaction is another important feature of group dynamics. If members are interdependent but they do not interact, a group is not formed. Interaction differentiates the group from a mere collection of people. For the solution of the group problems, the group members must interact and communicate with each other. Interaction among the members may take different forms like verbal, physical, emotional, so on. Whatever the form of interaction, it should be such that each person influences and is influenced by another. In other words, mutual influence has to be there. Okay, now we will see types of groups. On the basis of the social behavior of people in the organizations, the physiologists and the sociologists identify several different types of groups. Examples of each of these can be found in most large organizations. However, there are two types of basic groups which exist in every organization. These type of groups can be illustrated with the help of a table. Okay, types of groups. They are divided into formal group and informal group. Informal groups are further divided into command groups, task groups, committees. Whereas informal groups divided as interest and friendship groups, cliques, subcliques, and sale classification of groups. Sale classification groups are further divided into apathetic group, erratic group, strategic group, conservative group. Right, we will discuss each group in detail. First, formal group. By formal group, we mean those defined by the organization structure which designated work assignments and established tasks in formal groups. The behavior of that one should engage in that stipulated by and directed towards organizational goal. The feature of formal groups are as follows. For formal, for fulfilling certain specified objectives. When such objectives are fulfilled, these disappear. These may be in the form of temporary committees, task forces, etc. The formal groups may further be subclassified into the following groups. Right, we will see. One is command groups. The command groups are the most frequent type of formal groups. It is relatively permanent and is specified by the organization chart, right? It comprises of manager or supervisor, okay, manager or supervisor, and subordinates who meet regularly to discuss general and specific ideas to improve product or services. In individual organization, most employees work in such a command group. A typical command group organizational chart helps well. That is, the command group in a oval shaped circle, and command group, another command group in a circle, a vertical shaped circle, and whole another is horizontal shaped circle. In this, okay, we will see how they are associated. Thus, a manager and his supervisor reports to him from one command group. The supervisor and the subordinates reporting to him from other commanding group. Okay. Next, we will discuss task force. Task groups are also organizationally determined, but it is a temporary group representing the employees who are working together to complete a job task or a particular project. However, a task group boundaries are not limited to its immediate hierarchical superior. For example, if a problem involves many departments arises, a task force made up of representatives from each other affected departments might be formed to examine the problem and suggested solutions. The committees are also set up for some special projects. These can be permanent, such as planning committee or a budget committee, and may become an integral part of the organizational structure. A common committee also be temporary, right? A committee can also be temporary, such as a special task force which is set up for a particular purpose and is disabled when the purpose is achieved. For example, the committee constitutes elect the president of company is temporary and is disabled after the selection. Formal group. Informal groups are alliance that are neither formally structured nor originally determined. These groups are natural information in the which environment that appear in response to the common interests of the organization members, such as self-defense, work assistancy, and social interactions. The feature of these groups are we will discuss here. The informal groups are formed by the members of such groups by themselves rather than the management. These groups arise spontaneously in the organizations because of the social interaction between the people. These are based on common interest, language, taste, caste, religion, background, etc. And these groups exist outside the normal, formal authorities system and without any set rigid rules. And another feature is, though officially recognized, these groups exist in the shadow of the formal structure as a network of personal and social relations, which must be understood and respected by the management. Next, these groups have their own structure with their own leaders and own followers, group goals, social roles, and working patterns. They have their own unwritten rules and a code of conduct. With every member accept implicitly, members trust and respect each other. The informal group are more flexible than the formal group. Rules and procedures begin being unwritten, they can change from situation to situation. Since these groups concentrate on the personal contact between the members, they represent the human side of enterprise as compared to the technical side represented by the formal groups. Since informal interactions is spontaneous, it can take place in any way. Consequently, informal organizations may be of different types as explained. We'll see. Interests and friendship groups. People who may or may not be aligned into common command or task groups may be affiliated to attain a specific objective with which each is concerned. This is called an interest group. For instance, the employee who are grouped together to pressurize the management for subsidized transport constitute an interest group. A friendship group includes close friends or relations. These groups arise because members know each and other very well before joining the organization, and in the initial stages they recognize each other only. These social alliances, which frequently extend outside the work situation, can be based on similar age of ethnic heritage or for holding similar political views or having the same hobbies, etc. Now we'll discuss cliques. Cliques, another types of groups which we call it as cliques. Another type of informal group is called cliques. These groups consist of colleagues or those who commonly associated with each other and observe certain social norms and standards, but the number of members tend to be smaller and only rarely exceeds 5 or 6. The object is to provide recognition to each other and exchange information of mutual interests. Right? M. Dalton has identified 3 types of cliques. One is vertical cliques. This group consists of only people working with the same department, drawing membership regardless of rank. In the case, the superior may be a member. In the group consisting mainly of subordinates, such groups which cut across hierarchical lines develop because of the earlier acquaintance of people, or because the superior is dependent upon the subordinates for, some formal purposes, like filling gaps in his abilities. Another is horizontal clique. The group consists of people of more or less same rank and working more or less in the same area. Members are able to find some points of commonness, and keeping the objectives in mind came together. This is the commonest type of informal group. And another one, random or mixed clique. This group draws members from different tasks, ranks, departments, and physical locations. Again, people have some similarities come together for a common purpose. The members may be residing in the same locality, traveling by the same bus, or maybe some of the same clubs. Right? And another type of class is subcliques. The group consists of some members of a clique inside the organization forming a group along with persons outside the organization. The members of the clique gives these outsiders due recognition because of some members of their group being associated with them. Such groups are regarded as partially external to the organization. Right? And another styles classification of group. Styles classification of group. On the basis of the pressure tactics adopted by the groups, LRC identified 4 kinds of groups in the organization which are discussed below now. One is apathetic group. The group is characterized by relatively few grievances, and it hardly ever uses pressure tactics. In the group, no one ever emerged as a acceptable leader, and therefore there is lack of clearly defined leadership. These groups are composed of relatively low paid and low skilled assembly line workers who lack unity and power and hardly ever use pressure tactics. Such groups are generally indifferent to formal organizations. Right? They call it apathetic groups. And another type of group, erratic groups. Members in the erratic groups are easily inflamed and easily pacified. There is lack of consistency in their behavior. Sometimes they show antagonism towards the management, while on other occasions they may be cooperative. In such a group, any active member could assume the reins of the group and become the leaders. These groups are composed of semi-skilled workers who work together in performing jobs that require some interaction. They display considerably unity, but it is very difficult to predict their behavior. And another group is strategic group. The members of each group are able to prepare a strategy for putting pressure on the other groups and the management. Management of such groups are generally performed technologically. Independent jobs are comparatively better placed than members of early categories. It is difficult to apply exact time standards for judging their performance as their jobs are of such a nature that personal judgment matters. These people are highly united and actively participate in union activities. These people maintain a relatively consistent antagonism. Conservative groups is another. These groups are composed of professionals and highly skilled employees in the plant. They are found at higher levels of the organization and displayed considerable self-confidence. They work on their own and the nature of their job is such that they can shut down the plant if they so desire. These people are found to be very strong and very stable among informal groups. Such groups exercise restrained pressure for highly specified objectives and displays moderate internal unity and self-assurance. In terms of union activities, there are inactivity cycles. They are cooperatively oriented most of the time. They adopt antagonistic attitude towards management only when highly specific goals are brought by group members acting together. The relationship between formal and informal groups is mutually reinforcing and competing. Informal groups can assist formal groups in solving a complex problem. But what concerns as individual who is interested in the study of organizational behavior is the negative role played by the informal groups. Some informal groups are deliberately formed to work against management. Okay, with this I'll conclude, and in the next class we discuss the problems and difficulties of informal group. Thank you for listening.